All right, there we go.
All ahoy! All ahoy! Let's do it. But let me. I got a starting joke. Are you ready?
All right, let's have it.
Was Florida fruitful?
Florida was very fruitful.
Okay. Oranges, tangerines, and coconuts.
Yeah, no, Florida was awesome. It was this actually the third time I've been there when a hurricane went through. And the last day at the airport, I got to see the sunrise to a beautiful day to come home. So
Hey.
kind of been the same last three trips to Florida for me. So if you want to go for beautiful weather, just don't go when I go. That's all it takes.
Well, I lived in Miami, 1951 to 1962.
Ah, cool.
So yeah, and I was there when they had when the solar eclipse went through Miami. I
Uh-huh.
was there, and I also was there when some hurricane went through, and the eye sat right exactly over Miami. It was incredible. It went
Ah.
from a hurricane, went to the eye, calm, calm, calm as you can be, and back to the hurricane. Okay, sir, tell
Pretty
us.
cool. All right. Well, here we go. It is it's June 17th and hard to believe. Like June is flying by. Every time I blink my eyes, another week comes by. We've got 2 more weeks of being on our Monday schedule, and that's going to put us into July. So I don't know what the heck happened to June. June's just poof up in smoke. I leave again tomorrow for Las Vegas. Um, and decided to go out and participate in Perry's traffic event, which he has actually. This is interesting. He's been sending out emails for the last couple of weeks about how close it is to being full. He actually sold out the live event. So the live event tickets are over. And then last night I got another email, and this I found kind of humorous and interesting. He has sold out the virtual tickets. And I'm like, how the hell do you sell out virtual tickets? But he sold them out. So a miracle has happened.
Well,
So
there is a Zoom that's
well,
500 rooms, so that would be 500 tickets.
that could be. Maybe that's what it was. So, but anyway, his stuff is really cool. For those of you that are in his mastermind program, the Ignite, you get free access to that. So you get free access not only to the Zoom, the live events, and the recordings. So whether you reserved a spot for the recording or for the live event or for the virtual, you will get the recordings as well. So no worries, you won't miss anything. Um, but it's you never know what's going to happen with one of Perry's events. You just never know what he's going to do, who he's going to have on stage. I haven't heard anything about whether I'm going to be on there or not. They're going to do a lot of stuff about SEO, and he does tend to call on me quite often for that subject matter. So who knows? I might be ushered up onto the stage. I have no idea, but we'll figure it out. I remember being at one of his earlier traffic and conversion summits, and it was probably the fifth year. And I had spoken just about every year. I had spoken at the Traffic and Conversion Summit. And this year I was not scheduled to speak. So I was just in the audience, just kicking back, relaxing, enjoying the show. And I'm on the center aisle. And here I feel a hand on my shoulder. And here's Perry leaning down, whispering in my ear, "You're up next." And I'm like, "Really? What am I speaking about?" He says, "Anything you want." So I guess they had a speaker that didn't show, so he plugged me into the hole for it. So that's always awesome. It's always, you gotta always be prepared.
Ever ready scout.
Yep, you gotta always be ready and know, like at any given time, you should already have a preloaded spiel for what you're doing. at any given moment that can grab attention, create demand and desire, and even make an offer if that is relevant. Now, sometimes people don't allow you to do offers from stage, but that doesn't mean that you can't create demand and desire. That doesn't mean that you can't build a mailing list. That doesn't mean that you can't, offer people to contact you later. So all of those things are revenue generating, and that's what it's all about. It's whatever you're doing, it's all about building your list. And this kind of comes around to some really good conversations that I had in Orlando about Acquisition specifically, because that's really why I was there. I was there to get some answers, for one, and I was also there to, well, for multiple reasons, really. One of the reasons was, to get some answers on why stuff may or may not be converting. The other one is to get access to people that are actually running real campaigns. And when I say real campaigns, I'm not saying that, anyone's campaign might not be real, but what I'm referring to is ones where they're pouring money on them because they're converting. That's what I'm referring to when I mention real campaigns here. It's not to put anyone else's campaign down. I'm just talking about, this is a level I was looking for. People that are actually running paid traffic to campaigns that are converting and getting success. Because if I can get access to those kind of people, that's what I've been talking about since day one of releasing Acquisition. This is not for people that don't know how to convert. It's a traffic source. And if you don't have all of your, proverbial shit together, traffic is just really expensive. So had some really, really good conversations with Todd Brown's partner, who he runs, they've put together a whole agency. I didn't realize this, but they actually run an ad agency now where they have a media buyer. And because they're helping people create their campaigns, and now they're actually offering traffic services. So to my surprise, this was a great surprise. Some of you may remember this gentleman. His name was Nick Kringus. He was one of our first original Dominators, and he was in the program, and he had some success, and then he disappeared. So I haven't heard from him in, probably well over a decade. Well, he was there in the room in the top one group. And I went up, he recognized me right away, and I recognized him, and we got together, and I was like, hey, I had no idea what you were up to. And I congratulated him on achieving this level, because all the people that were in Orlando, they have achieved a level of success. They're not in the top one group for no good reason. This is an invite only type of a group. So, and it's the top 1% of the marketers. So anyway, he had made it. He had made the climb to the top. So I congratulated him, and I actually told him how proud I was of him because he's made it. It was really cool. And come to find out, the agency, Todd Brown's agency, the guy that's running the traffic campaigns, he has already set up and started to use Acquisition, and Nick is one of their clients that they're actually using it for. So he was already familiar with it, and it was just really a cool thing. But one of the big things, and this really was a moment of clarity for me, speaking to Todd's main guy, Damien. A real moment of clarity when we were having a conversation about who this is right for. And he said, here's what you're going to find, because these guys have been through it all. They've been through every level of customer in the marketing game. And he said, here's what you're going to find. You're a shiny object for the most part, not anything derogative about the product, but it's a shiny object. And I have found that to be true. Acquisitionaire is shiny as all hell. It's like people see it, they want it, they buy it. And then comes the problem. Because he said, you're going to get a lot of people that have spent money on one form of traffic, and it doesn't matter what it is. It could be Facebook ads, it could be YouTube ads, it could be pay-per-click, whatever. It doesn't matter. They spent money on it and they abandoned it because it didn't work. And then they've spent money on another one and they abandoned it because it didn't work. And they spent money on another one. And he said, you are just another one in line for them to spend money on, that it's not going to work. And it's not because the product doesn't work. It's not because Facebook ads don't work. It's not because YouTube ads don't work. It's because they don't have a converting campaign in place. He said your ideal customer is going to be somebody that is trying to scale traffic, that's already climbed the mountain. They've already got a campaign. It's already producing, and now they can scale and add to the results. And I was like, I knew that. I knew that inherently right out of the gate. And I've kind of been saying that all along, because I've got people that are saying, this is awesome, it's working great. And I've got others that are saying, I've got no results, the leads are shit. And I know that's not true. I'm not saying that they didn't get any results, but I've got people that are saying, I've bought 1,000 leads and not one person has responded to a single email. And I ask, well, let me see the email. And I'm like, well, I'm not surprised. Because first, you have to have a compelling subject line that's going to resonate with the audience. It's going to actually grab their attention. If you don't have that, you're done. You're not even going to get off the ground. Next is you've got to be able to hold their attention. You can't just grab their attention. You've got to hold it, and you've got to be able to move them to an action. And remember, as hot as these leads are, I mean, for me, an SEO lead is pretty hot because somebody searched for something and now they've chosen you and they clicked on you and now they're on your website. I consider that a pretty hot lead. The same thing with acquisitionaire. Someone has searched for a keyword. They've consumed a couple of pieces of relevant content, and we're grabbing their contact information and giving it to you in real time. I consider that, again, a pretty hot lead. That doesn't mean that they're automatically going to open their wallet and throw money at you. It doesn't mean that. It never has, and it never will. So you've got to have this thing called marketing, and again, the marketing grabs their attention, creates demand and desire, eliminates objections, makes offers, and converts those prospects to sales. So many people have a buy or die scenario. Their initial offer is made before they've created demand and desire. It's just like, hey, I've got this cool thing. You want to buy it? No. No, I don't. That's the answer you'll get if you ask a preloaded question that they're not ready for. And I see that over and over and over. And I'm like, my God, you guys have to understand this. There's a process to this. We've equated this to dating many, many times. If you ask too early for too much, you get rejection just by default. And marketing is no different. So you've got to, these are, even though they're warm, or I consider them very warm, hot leads because of the actions they've taken. They're in market, they're looking for something. But on the flip side of the coin, it's a cold lead to you because they don't know you. They've never probably heard of you. So you're reaching out to a cold prospect that's potentially a hot lead. It's your job to create the relationship. And that's what your email series has to do. That's what your campaign has to do. And it doesn't matter if you're using acquisition error to generate your leads, or if you're using organic SEO, or you're doing paid traffic of any form. It makes no difference. Even if you're doing free social media, like, how many people are spending all day fiddling around in social media and they haven't made one single sale yet? It's the same thing. You're spending money on traffic that you're not converting. And if you think that that's free for you to fiddle around all day in something and not get paid, if you think that's free, you're kidding yourself. That's costing you your most valuable resource, which is time. You'll never get that time back. That's worth an incredible amount of money to me. So time is valuable. Time is money. If you're spending your time, you're spending money. You're just spending your own money and you're not valuing it. If you don't value your time, you don't value your money. You don't value yourself. So that's a really important distinction to get. somebody, I think it was Charla from Craig's group. I heard her just a little while ago. She went to a Malinchek event. And I'm never been a Malinchek follower or fan or anything, but she went to the event and she said the one thing she took away was he grilled and grilled and grilled into them that you do not work for free. Nothing you do is for free. So, and that doesn't mean that you can't provide something at no cost. To me, it doesn't mean that. Like, I'm of the same mindset. I don't do anything for free. If I'm doing something, I have a value in mind that it's going to bring back. It might not pay me right now. That's okay. I don't need to make money right now for something that I do. But almost everything I do is for the purpose of bringing money in at some point. So don't get that confused when I say don't do anything for free. You might do something right now that isn't in your mind for free, but you're not charging for it right now. The money is going to come in later. And that is like one of the most valuable conversations that I was privy to in this group in Florida. And I'm actually putting together a whole presentation on this that I'm going to do at Craig's AI Summit. He's putting on an AI Summit in LA. Any of you guys that are going to that, I'm going to deliver that information for the first time. And I think it's going to be a blockbuster. I think it's just going to be outstanding. So any of you guys that are in his mastermind group, you get to go for free. I think it would be worth your time to do that. Anybody that's not in his mastermind, it's like $300. It's $295 for 2 days in LA. And that's where I'm going to reveal this presentation. And it's all about what they called in Orlando rigging the game. It's rigging the game of business in your favor. And it's not like some space age concept either. This is, for the most part, one of my favorite things, which is common sense that's not so common. And it completely describes all the mistakes that most beginner marketers make. And it also describes what the very few handful have figured out that have gone up and scaled exponentially. And there's a huge gap in the middle. There's like nothing in the middle. So it's a really cool thing. They call it rigging the game. So I'm going to put a whole presentation together to show how to rig the game in your favor. And I think it'll probably be one of the most worthwhile things that you see in the marketing space, probably to that point. It's really eye-opening. And like I said, it's not anything that's like earth-shattering, but the way it will be presented might be.
You're going to, of course, share that with us, right, John?
Everybody that's in the room. It's actually going to, at some point, I'm going to do the presentation for them live. That's going to be in 2 weeks in Los Angeles. And from the slide deck, I'm going to do a similar presentation that is part of the ACT program. It's going to actually go in right after the freedom formula. Because the freedom formula that is a really unique piece to kind of let you know that you really can have anything you want. And then this piece is actually going to show you how to get it, how to rig the game to get it. So it's going to be really, really valuable. So cool stuff. It's going to be probably shocking for the people at Craig's thing because they're expecting to hear me speak about AI for 2 days. And I'm going to come right in out of the gate and show them the first thing I'm going to teach them how to do is fail. I'm going to teach them how to fail and fail really quickly so they don't waste time. And so they can get on to a winner, and then how to take that winner and absolutely turn it into a masterpiece. So and AI is really cool. For those of you that were on last week with Mr. Castillo, Mario Castillo, he did his 3-day thing about the avatar training. And oh my God, I actually watched the recordings. Some of you guys, I had you record it. I didn't realize how fast they had the recordings up like almost the same day. So yesterday I got up early and I was able, there were about 2.5 hours each. So there was 3 of them. So I actually churned through it at 1.5 speed. So I got through them all in a reasonable time frame. But that was incredible information. But the way it was taught was it's not my style of training.
It was fire hose.
It was more than fire hose. It was so deep in the weeds that it would prevent almost everyone from really getting it, from getting the actual ability to use it. It was like, okay, I will be able to unravel this and put this into a format that's easy to follow and easy to just actually use and get the value out of, because there was absolute massive value. The value of what these guys were doing was incredible. And Mario, I like his style better. He had his partner Luke was actually doing most of the training. And what Luke does is Luke takes what Mario does naturally, because Mario is a copywriter. He's a really good copywriter from long way back. So Mario has been taking what he knows about copy and using AI to make it easy, make templates and make prompts and all that stuff. When he does that, Luke recognized that, hey, as good as Mario is, Mario doesn't know what he's doing. And when I say Mario doesn't know what he's doing, I don't mean that he's doing a bad job. He's doing an excellent job doing it. He just doesn't know what he's doing to be able to explain it to you. So he does it really well. He just doesn't know how to explain what he's doing. So when he says what he's doing, there's a lot of gaps to it, because he doesn't really understand himself what he's doing. He's just doing it all by natural ability and by, over years and years of experience, which, you know, that's an interesting thing. Experience is time based. Like if you ask a person, like let's say you're in an airport. I love these airport analogies when I'm traveling. If you're in an airport and you get into a plane and you look into the cockpit and you're like, holy shit, there's a lot of buttons and knobs and switches in here. Have you ever looked in a commercial airliner cockpit? It's like, holy crap, what is all this stuff? And you're thinking, you know, my God, if it was up to me, we'd all die. Think about that. Now, what's the difference between that pilot and me? That pilot has layered knowledge. They didn't just put him in that commercial airliner. They first put him in a little plane that had only a couple of buttons and knobs, and he learned how to use the basics. And then they put him into a bigger airplane, and then a twin engine, and then one with all the electronics. And he learned in layers, one at a time, to the point where all that stuff was on autopilot, and he doesn't even have to think about it anymore. Now, advance that 20 years into his career, he's standing there at the door of the cockpit, and you walk up and you ask him, you say, wow, how do you fly this plane from LA to New York or LA to Orlando or wherever you want to go? His answer is going to be superficial. He's going to say, well, it's easy. We taxi out on the runway. We throttle up to a certain speed, we pull off, and you know, we navigate to this point and we reverse the order and bring it down on the ground, right? Well, that sounds really simple, right? Well, you and I try it, we're all going to die because we don't have that 20 years of layered knowledge. We don't have all that stuff on autopilot, and that's what Mario's got. He writes copy because he's been flying the plane for 20 years and he doesn't have to think about it anymore. So what Luke did was Luke came in and identified that. Luke said, yeah, there's a lot of gaps between you being able to understand what he's doing and why. And Luke went deep into the weeds. Holy shit, he went deep in the weeds. I couldn't even see the sky through the weeds. I was so deep in there. And it's really when somebody takes you into the weeds, it's mind numbing. You know, Janie called it a fire hose. Yeah, it's worse than that. It's like waterboarding. It's not real kind to the participant. And that's what I got. I got 6 hours of waterboarding yesterday morning going through that. And but you know, I can recognize the value of the information. So it was worth it for me to, you know, go through a meat grinder to try and figure that out so I can explain it to you guys and actually create, because this is one of the things I've wanted to do for a while since we've all been playing with AI. Is I want to rebuild at least the beginning section of ACT to use AI to identify and do all the competitive analysis and all the stuff that is just the worst part of the process, and get AI to do that. And I've kind of been doing that along the way and sharing with you guys, like when I created the acquisitionnaire funnel and I shared that document with you of how I prompted the AI and all the steps I went through and all that. There is, I guarantee you, there is a simple sequence for us to do what Luke and Mario took 6.5 hours of deep in the weeds. I guarantee you there's a simple solution for that. And that's kind of my goal over the next month or so, is to unspin that and put that into a very simple format where you can follow it and you don't really have to have a PhD to get the results. That's my goal with it. So, and for those of you that actually did go through it, I'm going to set up a time for us to do a private Zoom and just kind of kick some ideas around, get your feedback of, what you thought about the information, any takeaways, because we all see things differently. So I'm going to do that. We'll set that up. We'll do that collective little meeting and take that info to the next level so we can help everybody. So one of the guys at Top One in Orlando was John Benson, and he has made the Benson AI. And it is a version, I haven't had a chance to play around with it yet. I did sign up for their affiliate program while I was there. In his program, it's not real cheap. It's $500 to get access to it, and then it's $49 a month for the Benson AI software. But it supposedly has a component to it to do this research, this analysis, and create this avatar profile. I don't know that it's going to be necessary. I think based on Mario's prompts and the training, that I'll be able to unravel that and create a logical sequence for somebody to just, okay, copy this prompt, paste it into Perplexity, add in your market, what you know about your market, and probably before I do that, I'll probably go to Perplexity and put in some URLs of some really close, tight-knit competitors. And I'll say, tell me about the ideal customer for this product or for this service. And I'll have it like kind of give me the description of the marketplace. And then we'll paste that into Mario's prompt, hit go. And I think it's going to do all of the analysis that is required in ACT to build your avatar, like in one click. That will be a huge pain point that is eliminated. And from there, now you have a document, you have a working document of who your ideal avatar is, who your ideal customer is, and all of their pain points, all of their desires, all of their fears. So you can now take that, think about how much more powerful your prompt would be if your prompt actually had that information in it and then had your product in it, and you are now asking the AI, what is the best way for me to convey the value of my product, presented in an order that is methodical, logical, creates demand and desire, first grabs attention, creates demand and desire, eliminates objections, and then write me the perfect offer at the end of that. Can you imagine what the AI is going to spit out and the amount of time it would save you? That almost everyone in Top One in Orlando is using AI. Almost, well, I'm not going to say almost. I'm going to tell you all of them are using AI. And Rich Sheffrin, I don't know if you guys know who that is. Rich Sheffrin he was like one of the very first in the internet marketing space. He's the one that I attribute to making Frank Kern. I had a conversation with him about that too during one of the evenings. And he had a different perspective. I think he's really good friends with Frank at this point. And he kind of shot down my theory, but I'm not sure if it was totally true or not. I think he was just like preserving Frank in my eyes. But what I saw was Rich had a toehold in the internet marketing space before Frank did. Frank came into the industry kind of green. And this is that video I've got of Frank interviewing Rich to get credibility, because Frank had no credibility in the marketplace when he entered. He was honestly just a kid. He was very young, and Rich told him, if you want to gain access and control to a marketplace, you have to show up as an authority. And he said, there's no better way to show up as an authority than to take the most authoritative person in that market and be the one that interviews them. And that's where Frank got guilt by association. You're guilty of being successful if people see you with successful people. So that is where Rich offered, hey, interview me, and then people will automatically associate you with my success. And that's exactly what happened. So to me, that's how I kind of pieced together that Rich was the one that kind of broke Frank into the industry. And like I said, Rich has a different outlook on it, different story. He was building Frank up, way more than I think was actually reality, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, Rich has been really, really entrenched. He's not like the outgoing internet marketer guy that you hear and see all over the place like Frank. He's more behind the scenes, but he is a power player. This guy knows his shit. He does some high-end consulting, and he's really got the heartbeat of marketing in the internet marketing space. And one of the things that he does, one of the new programs he's got, it's called SOW. That's Share Our Winners. And they're taking like all of the best of who's doing what, and they're analyzing it all, and they're just picking out the winners of all of it and saying, here is the best of the best. Like if you want to do YouTube ads, here's the best of the best. Here's what we found collectively through everyone that's doing YouTube ads. And one of the things that was revealed in that little segment was when you're doing video now, the images in the video, like you'll see a commercial and the images go from one image to the next. He said that movement is almost, if not more important than the messaging itself. And I never would have guessed that. Like to me, messaging is everything. Well, with him, he came up with, or he came out with the fact that it doesn't matter how good your messaging is if they don't hear it to the end. And the thing is, with the images, if the image is the same image for, like it used to be 10 seconds, you could get away with the same image for 10 seconds. And then it was like 4 seconds. And he said at this point, it's 1.4 seconds. Those images are just boom, 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 boom. And he said that is the new attention span because of all of the information overload that people have been subject to for the last several decades. It just keeps getting more and more and faster and faster. And we're getting dulled to it. We're getting immune to that. So what we need, it's like when you're addicted to something, you want more and more and more, faster and faster and faster. And that's what these images are. So if you've got the same image up in your video for more than 1.4 seconds, they're already bored. So if you want the best of the best, that's what they're figuring out. The imagery's got to move fast, or it's got to be motion picture. It's like you're taking them on a journey and they don't want to miss out on something. If they see the same image up there for 10 seconds, they're like, there's nothing else coming. I'm out. Boom. But if there's an image every 1.4 seconds, now their mentality is what's next? What's next? And they'll hang in for the whole video. So you will get a chance to deliver that message. Whereas if not, they just click out. Doesn't matter how good your message is, doesn't matter how good your product was, you're not going to get to the offer. They're out. And I was like, holy shit, that just raised the bar. So marketing is getting more difficult. We need to run faster just to keep up. And again, we're back to the whole thing of why didn't my campaign work? Marketing is an animal that you've got to wrestle. You got to figure out, what's working for any given market and all this stuff. Here's another thing that Rich discovered by creating this Steal Our Winners campaigns. He said of the winning campaigns, they looked at, I think it was 5,800 campaigns to find 18 winners. I'm like, holy shit, that's pretty grim. I don't want to have to create 1,500 campaigns to get 18 winners. And, that's where he's doing that work for you. He's sifting through, and his Steal Our Winners campaigns are, okay, we've done the math. We've sifted through 5,800 different campaigns. And across the 18, here's something that I saw right away. The common thread through every one of those 18 winner campaigns. You guys want to know what it is? Anybody want to know? All right.
Yes, John, in case
Yes,
No,
nobody's
please.
yeah,
speaking.
yeah.
Here was the shift. The shift was from the tease, because marketing's always been about a tease, right? It's moved from teased to taste. They're actually giving you a taste of what you're going to get, not a tease about what it's like. They actually give you some of the best in the campaign itself. Like, for instance, you could, like an act, I'll just use act for instance. Let's say I'm marketing act and I'm creating a presentation. A tease would be me telling you about all the cool stuff that's inside, telling you here's what it's going to do for you. Here's the magic, and not actually giving it to you, but just teasing you with it. And a taste would be a different thing of me coming through and saying, I discovered this thing from Benjamin Franklin that eliminates any objection. Let me just give you the formula and give them an actual taste of what is inside the course. That's the difference between tease versus taste. Just telling them that I have it and actually just giving it to them.
John, isn't that in alignment with, I forget, it's either Perry Belcher or Frank Kern or somebody at that level says the first thing you do is give away your best stuff. Just give it away.
Yeah,
The best you got, because they'll consume it and they'll want, and from there they'll want more. And I don't, that sounds like a great idea. And once you've given them everything, then what do you got left to give is kind of like where you got to have depth to be able to do that.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. That was like Frank Kern. When he did the Mass Control launch, and he sold $2 million in 20 minutes on the actual launch. He did 4 emails, 4 video actually, with an email and a video leading up to that release of that product. And I got to tell you, he gave you probably 90% of what was in the course before he offered it for sale. He's done that consecutively on multiple launches, multiple products. He did that with what was it? The Magic Model. When he released Magic Model, it was the same thing. He did a sequence of videos prior to the launch of Magic Model, and Magic Model was presentation. Magic Model was how to deliver a presentation from either a webinar or a live stage or a VSL. It was you presenting your material in live format, no matter, what the medium. And he did that. He gave away 90% of the whole course in the marketing of it. He was not teasing. He was giving not even a taste. He's giving you a full meal. It was like, belly up to the bar. It's all you can eat. And I actually purchased the Magic Model from him And I was so disappointed when I found out that he already delivered the entire course. There was only a couple of nuggets that he held back, and they weren't even good. I'm like, I just spent $2,000 for nothing. But you know what the moral of the story was? Frank was $2,000 richer because I spent the money. So, and even in my disappointment, I didn't like want a refund or anything because I got the value. I got everything that I paid for. But realizing that I really didn't need to pay for it, I already had damn near the whole thing. And the little things that weren't there, I wouldn't really have needed anyway. That was like, holy shit, that was good. Yeah, I can recognize, a good marketing campaign, and that was it. So that was kind of the common thread between Rich's winners. All of his winners had that taste versus tease element to them. 18 winning campaigns out of 5,800. Pretty crazy stuff. And, they all had very similar scenarios. They were all about giving. They were all about dialing in on who it's for, what they want, and why they want it. It's the same thing I've been saying on here for months, if not years. You've got to figure out what your person wants and why they want it. That is what's going to tell you what's going to make you important to them. And that's what's going to tell you what they need to hear. There's things that they need to hear for them to want to work with you, for them to say yes. When you make your offer and you want them to say yes, there's things they need to hear. They need to be comforted. They need to be reassured. They need to be seduced. They need to be convinced. All these things have to happen, and that's what your presentation is for. That's what your marketing is for. Whether you're doing it in a webinar presentation or an email series or from stage, it really doesn't matter. But you need to figure out who they are, what they want, why they want it, and all of that if you're going to be effective. And it's no different with any traffic form, any traffic source. Doesn't matter if you're doing pay-per-click, you're on someone's stage, you're in social media, you're buying leads from Acquisition Air, you're doing SEO. It really doesn't matter. What matters is you understand them and their needs and what they want, why they want it. And you are able to know that, and by leveraging that information, you're able to grab their attention. You know what to say and when to say it. You know how to seduce their heart. That is going to create that demand and desire. It'll create it to the level of the head stepping in the way and saying, yeah, I don't believe that. I think that's bullshit. That's when the convincing needs to come in. That's where you move from promise. Promise is what seduces the heart. That's what you need to say. You need to make promises to the heart if you want to create demand and desire. You need to show the head how the heart is going to get what it wants. That's where the convincing comes in. That's where logic, reason, facts, figures, showing them, like giving them the taste. Here's how it works. Let me just give you the formula so you can see this is real. This is the thing that's going to deliver the result. And even though they've got it, and you say, well, why would they pay for it? If they've already got it, why would they pay for it? Most everybody doesn't want to just buy a thing. They want to buy help getting what they want. That's why they'll pay more for it. That's where you have to convince them they're not just going to throw money at something that's going to sit there and not do anything. You're going to provide the value of helping them implement it. Whether it be in training videos, like, hey, here's the thing, and it's going to get you exactly what you want, right? Great. Well, I don't believe I can do it, right? That might be something that's an objection. So convincing the head is, I totally get that. Believe me, if you gave me this great thing, I wouldn't know what to do with it either. I get it. That's why when you purchase it, you're going to get access to our membership area that's got step-by-step videos looking right over my shoulder, me showing you how to get what you want using. That's why they'll buy it. So it's not just about the promise of what it does. You also have to convince them they can get what they want out of it. That's really, really an important distinction. And if your marketing is not doing that stuff, you're probably not getting sales. So you might be building a list. And this is part of, I'll give you a taste I'll give you a tease instead of a taste here. What I'm putting together on the, rigging the game. It is about things that you can do inside your campaign to make sure they come out winners. That's what it's all about. And some of it is timing sequences that I never thought of, and they were basically coming out of the Agora model. Somebody was at Top One from Agora, and they said, they almost threw in the towel on Agora. Agora sells over $1 billion worth of informational products a year. $1 billion with a B, through internet marketing, through copy, through nothing more than copywriting, sales letters. They don't have belly to belly salesmen. They don't have people calling you on the phone. It's sales letters. It's copy. They sell over $1 billion a year. And they almost threw in the towel early on in the game because when they did the marketing, it didn't work because they hadn't rigged the game. And that's what I'm going to share, is how you rig the game. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You can rig the game in your favor so you can win. And they seriously, they almost shut it down, because when they looked at the analytics, they didn't see how it was going to work. And it was Clayton Makepeace was the one that shined the light on how to win the game, how to rig the game. And I didn't realize, but he has apparently passed away. Clayton is no longer with us. He was an absolute brilliant marketer, copywriter, and one of the ones that actually made Agora famous. So I don't know if any of you guys ever had the privilege of meeting him. He was a little odd. He was an odd duck. He was definitely not one out in the public, but he was very behind the scenes, but a very brilliant marketer and copywriter and communicator. So cool stuff. Well, you guys got questions? Anything you want me to cover?
John, I wanted to just add a footnote at the end. The Steal Our Winners has been around for more than a year already, and he's interviewing the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great program. He wants it to be basically the YouTube for internet marketers. It's a subscription type thing.
Yeah.
But, and the giveaway everything for people that want to do, people that like Go High Level, or even Kartra people. Frank Kerr is now giving away his stuff, but it only functions on Go High Level with a pro account. So you sign up for Go High Level with a pro account and just get his stuff.
Oh, that's actually not true. There's a whole bunch of Frank stuff in Kartra as well.
Well, that may be, but I'm saying if you're talking about giving away your stuff, how do you monetize giving it away? Well, you give away your Kartra pieces or, you know,
Ah.
whatever Kartra snapshot version is, you just give it away, but they have to sign up for Kartra to be able to plug it in and
Gotcha.
use it.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's absolutely brilliant. Why do you think I'm creating templates and things for Kartra?
That's right.
Because I have an affiliate link. You know, everyone that signs up for Kartra, that's $40 a month for me. You know, they pay me 40%, and it's $100 a month basically for an intro Kartra account. So think about that. If I wanted to do nothing else other than just make affiliate money, all I would have to do is just create useful templates, like figure out what the market wants, why you want it, create cool templates, and then give them away. Say, look, I have a webinar template. You know, it's got all the stuff. I could show it to them. Say, it's got this, everything you need, plug and play. I'll give it to you. And it's, you know, it runs on Kartra. Here's my affiliate link. Or I could say, if you buy it through my affiliate link, I will give you these 5 campaigns. If you guys know Brian Delaney, Brian used to do, he did done for you marketing campaigns using ClickFunnels. He was a big ClickFunnels guy. And if you had, you know, $20,000 to $50,000, he would build you a campaign. You could go to him, 20 to 50 grand, and he would build you a ClickFunnels campaign. It didn't have any guarantees of any conversion. It was just he was going to build you out a fully functioning campaign, and then, you know, you could tweak it and do whatever to get your conversions. He did good business with that. He made a lot of money doing that, but he made more money by giving away templates for ClickFunnels. He said, I've got 5 templates that are my most successful, just like what Rich has done with the Steal Our Winners. He said, I've been doing this for years. These are my 5 most successful templates that I've used over and over and over to give client success over and over and over. Replicatable, repeatable, successful campaigns. I'll give you all 5 of them if you just use this link and sign up for a ClickFunnels account. And he said he actually posed it that you have to use his link, because from his link he'll be able to inject these into your campaign automatically. I don't know that that was necessarily true or not, but that was his angle. And at one point, he actually won one of their contests. They were giving away, it was some kind of a high-end car. I don't know if it was a Ferrari or a Lambo or something, but he won the car. He was their top affiliate. And he was making some absurd amount of money per month on his affiliate commissions with them. I mean, it was like a crazy amount of money. And, you know, that was very inspiring. He also, what he did that even compounded it even more was he set up a 2nd-tier affiliate with them, just like what you can do with Kartra. You can be an affiliate broker, and you have a 2nd-tier of affiliate commission. He actually set up where he said, I'll give you like an agency website where you can actually give away these campaigns yourself and get the affiliate commission, just like I'm doing. And then he was the affiliate manager tier on top of that. So he's actually giving you the ability to do the same thing he's doing and make the money he's making, and then he's going to get a cut of it. And it's not going to cost you anything. It's not a cut out of your share. It's a cut on top out of ClickFunnels, you know? So he was really smart the way he set that up. And he made literally millions of dollars in affiliate commissions through ClickFunnels. And I think he's still one of their top affiliates. So I was looking at that. I'm not near as ambitious as he is. He's very aggressive. He's like over the top aggressive. But what I was thinking was, hey, you know, I could build all this stuff for Kartra training, Kartra templates, all this stuff. And if I could just figure out how to give away 1,000 of those, that's not that many. Giving away 1,000 things that's going to help business owners that desperately need it, that's not that difficult a thing to do. And if I were just able to do that, give away 1,000, help 1,000 business owners by giving them training for Kartra and templates to actually build successful campaigns in their business, and just give it to them. 1,000 of them, that would be $40,000 a month for me. And as long as I make sure, help them out a little bit, make sure they're actually running and using it in their business, that'll go on forever. You know, if I just ditched them, I just, you know, pushed it on them and ditched them and ran away, I probably wouldn't have a retention rate that was very good. But if I'm there, supply training, supply support to just help them, that's not that difficult to do. I could set up, you know, an hour a week or whatever for a group Kartra thing for $40,000 a month. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. How many of you would do that? How many of you would give up an hour a week for 40 grand a month? You know, that is a very plausible way to do it. It's not just speculation. I've seen not just Brian Delaney do it. I've seen several people do just that. You know, they'll pick something good, they'll support it, they'll promote it, they'll make money from it, and they don't even have to build their own products. They just have to get decent at marketing. And in today's world, you don't really even have to do that. You just need to get decent at writing some prompts for the AI to do your marketing for you. So, I mean, there's bright horizons in every direction you look right now from the internet marketing space. I know some of you have, you know, particular products that aren't really even internet marketing related, and you're just trying to figure out how to promote them. It's the same thing. It's still bright horizons everywhere you look because of what AI is providing you. It's providing you access and resources that you didn't have a year ago. They weren't here. You were on your own. You're either going to pay somebody a boatload of money to do your marketing for you, or you were going to try and figure it out yourself, which that's like getting in the cockpit of the plane. You know, you're going to crash and burn and kill everyone on board because you don't have the experience. You know, and when I say you're going to kill everyone on board, you know who you're killing? It's your dollars. All of your little soldiers that are there to work for you. You're just driving them into the ground and they're going up in flames. And you are at the helm. You are at the wheel. You're at the wheel of that plane. And they're all in jeopardy just from being on board with you because you don't know how to fly the plane. You don't have the experience. But now with AI, that's no longer a problem. So you still have to, you know, you still have to go through the moves. Just because AI builds a campaign for you, it doesn't mean it's going to be a winner right out of the gate. But you can use AI to accelerate the process tremendously. You know, one of the things I was thinking about the other day was people are using AI now for social media, for content, for blogs. They're populating their websites with AI content. And sometimes they're good at prompting, sometimes maybe not. But they're having AI generate content on their behalf. And the problem with this is the AI is really powerful, but the AI does not have feedback. If you give the AI feedback, it will come exponentially more powerful. What I mean by feedback is, imagine you've done 30 blog posts or 30 social media posts, and you just put them out there. And now you're going to ask the AI to do 30 more for next month. It doesn't know how the market reacted to the last ones. So are the next ones going to be any better? Chances are not. Chances are they might be worse. Chances are you're not even looking to tell. You're just spinning your wheels. You're just doing something for the sake of doing it. You're like, oh, I need content. Okay, let's make content. Content done. Again, you spent time, but there was no money coming back on the other end for that. You just wasted that time. So imagine this. You create 30 days worth of content. It doesn't matter if it's blog posts or social media posts, whatever. You got 30 pieces. You put it out into the world for 30 days. Now you have a month's worth of analytics of how many people opened it, how many people actually read it, how many people shared it, how many people liked it. You've got all this data. And you take that data, put it into a CSV file, feed it back to the AI, and say, here's your report card. Here's how my market actually reacted to what you built for me. I'd like you to do better. Now, do you think the next 30 days of content might be improved upon? Because it has a gauge, it has a scale. It's like, oh shit, we didn't do so good. We better do better. And you do that a few months, and you can also feed back how many sales were made. And you can tell the AI, hey, we've been at this for 2 months now. I haven't seen a single sale. What the hell's wrong with you? You're not putting calls to action here. You need to do your freaking job and make me look good and sell my shit. And you're not doing it. What's up? Remember, it's your employee. It works for you. It's not there just to make a bunch of random shit and not care. You are the driver. You're the driver of the train. You're in the pilot seat. So by giving feedback to the AI, it can do better for you. It can understand, oh, they had a different expectation. I didn't deliver on it. Maybe I should try something different. Or you can do what everyone else does, is just keep piping shit out into the market and not get anywhere. Just waste your time building more content that nobody cares about, or that you're not even monitoring to figure out what of all of that they do care about. So the AI is incredibly powerful. The other thing I saw that they did, and I think this was Rich, might have, it was either Rich or it might have been from the 3 days of AI avatar training, but they went into YouTube and they took the main problem, like the main problem of their market, and they put it in as a YouTube search. And they got 3 pages of YouTube videos with headlines and descriptions. They exported that into a CSV file. They uploaded it to, I think they uploaded it to Poe. I would put it in Perplexity myself. But they put it into there and they said, here's what the market's hearing. These are the current big ideas and headlines for the market. Here's my product. I want you to give me 20 new angles that aren't necessarily what these are, but will outperform these. Now, all of a sudden, it knows what the market's seeing. Remember, that's part of analysis, understanding what your avatar is being subjected to, so you know how to speak differently. You have to come through differently, or they're just going to be immune to the messaging. They're going to say, yeah, I've heard that, I've heard that, I've heard that. And that's not a big idea. A big idea is saying something that they haven't heard, or saying the same thing in a way they haven't heard it yet. This is really some mind numbing kind of work to do this. Coming up with big ideas is not easy. That it takes some serious thought, some serious brain power. And I know when I do it, I think I'm pretty decent at it. It's exhausting. It is actually labor intensive on your brain. And now you can just pipe it into Perplexity and it'll just spit these things out like nothing. And then you can take that brain power that you have and you can look at it and give the feedback to the machine so it can do it again. Like it would, for you to come up with 20 big ideas might take you a week and you'd feel like you were run through a meat grinder, where this thing will do it in seconds. And then you just look at it and now you have the easy job of being a critique. You can be an asshole and say, those suck. Do it again. And guess what? Boom, done. I mean, if you don't think we live in exciting times, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. This is some amazing stuff. I hope you guys are like taking advantage of what's at your fingertips and using it to learn your market, learn what they want, learn why you're not doing better. Learn why you're not selling more. And you can do this stuff at the speed of light. Like you can now test stuff, and if it doesn't work, hey, just let's redo it. It's no sweat. Just tell the AI, hey, you missed the mark. We didn't get what we were looking for. Let's pick a new angle. You don't have to sit up late at night thinking, oh my God, what's another angle? What's another angle? And just, churn it until you got nothing left in the tank. I haven't seen a situation yet where the AI has nothing left in the tank. It blows my mind. Every time I ask it, it just keeps, spitting out ideas that are spectacular. Yeah. Again, that's based on your prompt. If you give it a crappy prompt, it's going to give you a crappy answer. But there's so many different things that we can do to get better answers. Ask it. I don't know if it'll do this. I haven't tried this yet, but I'm going to probably try this and find out. Ask it who your top competitors are. I'm not sure what you'll get. I haven't tried that yet, but I just thought about that. Who are my top competitors and what are their URLs? If it doesn't do it, I know SEMrush will do it. Because when I run a competitive analysis on a website, it will give me the top 10 competing websites based on the keywords for that site that you're putting in. Here's another thing. If you're just starting out, let's say your website isn't ranking for any keywords, so you would get dismal results on who your competitors are. Just do a little research yourself. Like go to Google and put in your main keyword or put in the main problem that you solve and see who comes up. I guarantee you those are going to be your competitors, at least some of them. I don't know if it's good competitors. I don't know if they're the best, but you can use your intellect to figure that out. Figure out, is this a real competitor? Do these guys have good messaging? Or, what I have, am I going to get my ass kicked going up against them? If that's the case, then yeah, that is a competitor. That's a good competitor. Take their URL, put it into Perplexity, and say, tell me who their average reader is. Tell me who their ideal customer is. Give me their demographics, their psychographics. Give me the emotional buying triggers. And I got to tell you, we have some amazing prompts that I've gotten out of that training from last week about digging out the avatar information. And those are all going to be available to you guys pretty soon. Once I get those up, I'll put them in the members area. So doing that initial analysis, that competitor analysis, is really an easy process. I just described it in detail. It's not that hard. go to Google, put in your pain point, put in what you're doing, what problems you solve, whatever you want to do. Find a couple of main competitors, take their URLs, put it in Perplexity, and have Perplexity analyze them. Say what market does this serve? Who's the most profitable avatar? Who do you believe the average reader to be? All of anything you want, but find out who's under the hood. Who are they serving? How are they serving them? You can even say, based on the copy here, do you think they're being very effective at messaging these people? How could I be more effective? Here's my brand. Here's my mission statement. Here's what I stand for. Build me a phenomenal sales video sales letter, whatever you want, a webinar, a presentation, sales page, content from my website, whatever you need. It'll just spit it out for you. I would highly recommend that you read it before you post it, but it'll do the heavy lifting for you. There's nothing. I've been in this game for a very long time, and there's absolutely nothing for me worse than a blank page. Like if I have to start into something and I got a blank page staring at me, it's very intimidating. It's really hard. Once I get into it, it starts to flow, but it could be weeks before I'm in the mood to make it flow. That's like a really big handicap. For you to be handicapped with having something hurdle in your way that could be literally weeks before you're in the mood to do that. It takes a creative process to do this stuff. And, we're not always in creative mode. Sometimes we're in thought mode. Sometimes we're in relax mode. Sometimes we're in confusion mode. Sometimes we're in scared mode. Those are not conducive with the creative process. So if you're in any of those types of modes, overwhelm, if you're in any of those modes that are not creative and you're sitting in front of a blank page, good luck. That's going to really suck, because no matter how hard you try and force it, it's not going to be creative. And that's what you need. You need to be in creative mode. And AI just allows you to be in creative mode. You could have the worst possible day. You could have spilt coffee on yourself. You could, stub your toe. You could be bleeding. You could go, God, I got to go to the freaking hospital. But let me just get Perplexity working on this thing for me. And it'll do it. It doesn't need to be in the mood. It doesn't have a bad day. It doesn't even have a bad second. It just flat does what you tell it. So again, we live in absolutely phenomenal times right now. It's an incredible place to be. So anyway, questions? Anybody got anything? Mine's overloaded, blown.
Hey, John.
What's in store for the 3 o'clock call with the FTC Guardian?
Actually, I just got an email that might get postponed. Chip was wanting to know if we could reschedule that for later on in July. I'm not really sure what the deal was with it, but he was going to go through it's basically just a presentation of why you need the service, what it does for you, answer any questions, talk about new stuff. Apparently there's a lot of new stuff, in that space, probably stuff that I'm not even aware of. I need to be up to date on it. And the biggest thing was I asked him to do it so not only he could give our members, a great deal. I think he's going to give us a better deal than he's already given us. But so we could have it recorded so it's evergreen in our members area for anybody, that hasn't seen it, wants access to it, or any newcomers coming in. So if what I'm probably going to do, I talked to Alan about it. Alan runs all of Chip's campaigns. Alan told me that if anybody is like really in a hurry to see it, they have a pre-recorded one that he could get out to anybody that has signed up in case you want access to it right away, and then we'll do our live one later in July. So if you just need the basic info, I'll have Alan email that out to anybody that registered. So you'll have access to that today, so you don't miss out. You know, if you had that window blocked, you can possibly still take advantage of it. And
Yeah,
then,
that would be helpful because my July is pretty full.
okay, cool. Yeah,
Thank you.
I will do that. I'll have Alan send that out to everybody, and then we'll do the real deal. We'll get it recorded, and away we go. So, Ben, you had a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask a similar question to that. I actually got an email already that had the replay in it, and then the
Oh,
one-time
okay.
deal for 497. So should we buy it if we want to, or hold off?
If you want it, it's a lifetime deal for 497, which is that is the best deal I've ever seen them give. I was actually going to press Chip and Alan to do better, but if they do, I could probably get them to do retroactive for you. So I wouldn't hesitate to do that. That's going to be a good deal, basically.
Okay, cool. Yeah, two other quick ones for me. They should be fast. Is there any update on the Copy Coders AR AI Avatar VA workshop? And then I saw the offer was closed. Were we going to have that content available by chance to the group?
Yes. Yeah, I need to basically put that together, and that's going to be part of the analysis process in ACT. So, and it won't be like they went deep. I don't know if you were on the call earlier when I was talking about that. They went like so deep in the weeds. I wouldn't even really recommend subjecting you to that.
Hmm.
I'm going to make it a whole lot easier because they turned it into like a PhD course. And it was, I mean, it was good stuff, but it wasn't really a level where you could assimilate it and actually use it effectively. I think anyway. I was just going, my eyes were rolling back in my head as I'm listening to him go through this stuff, just deep into the weeds. And I'm like, the whole thing with AI is you don't need to know all of that crap. The AI knows everything you need to know. You just need to know how to direct it. So, but their prompts really do that. And they even said, like, all the way through, you don't really need to know all this stuff. You just need to use the prompts, but they wanted you to have a deep understanding of the what, when, and why, and how, and all that. So you'd be effective at adjusting the prompts and doing all that. But I think I will probably be able to deliver that training in a very simplified format that you'll understand better.
Cool.
So
Yeah, and one more, please.
sure.
What's the best way to get acquisitionary leads onto our email list? I know since the software gives you the hot lead email addresses, right?
Yeah.
Will we then like email them with our opt-in or lead magnet, or because I don't know the whole thing about if you're allowed to just straight email them. You
Yeah.
wouldn't be building that much trust anyways, right? If you were going right into a pitch.
Yeah. What you get, like when Acquisitionaire generates the lead, it puts it onto a Google Sheet first. If you have one of the connectors set up, if you have an API connection set up into either Kartra or Go High Level or SendGrid, it will pipe the lead right into that CRM for you that can trigger, an auto response email to go out. If you have something else, you can always use Zapier, whatever they call it, to import that lead. But basically the goal of it is you want to email them as quickly as possible, because they're never going to be hotter than they are right after they're doing that search and looking at stuff based on that keyword. that's the point in time where they're just never going to be hotter than that. So it's kind of like mind reading. If they're looking for something and they're, viewing content and consuming content, they're probably doing that for a reason. And that's the best time for you to show up in their email. A lot of times when people are on a desktop, there's a little box that pops up that shows the subject line. So like if I'm looking for life insurance and that little box pops up and it says, don't buy life insurance, until you've read this, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to read that, right? It's almost like you read my mind of what's important to me at that given point in my journey. So that's what you want to do. You want to figure out like how to enter the conversation going on in their mind. It's not about pitching them. It's not about making them an offer of any kind right out of the gate. It's about entering the conversation in their mind and helping them get what they want. Like what they want typically is they want to know they're making the right decision if they're going to purchase something. That to them is more important than you pitching something at them that there's no reference to. Like they don't know that that's the right product for them. In a marketing campaign, the most powerful thing that you can do is take control of the narrative. Education-based marketing outweighs every other one 10-1 because you get a chance to set the buying criteria. They're in learning mode. They're trying to learn what they want to purchase. So they need to make a decision. It's like if you went into a department store that sold TVs, and I'm going back old school now. You walk into the department store, you go to the electronics section, and you got, 50 TVs up on the wall. I'm a consumer. I just know I need a TV. I don't know which one I need. So the easiest thing for me to do is ask the salesperson, what am I asking him? I'm not asking him which TV to buy. I don't want him to jam one down my throat. I want to have a conversation where he educates me potentially which one is the best for my needs. He's setting the buying criteria. Which one do you think I'm most likely to buy? The one where he sets the criteria that matches me and my needs. So, I say this all the time. What works in the real world works in the online world, and you can automate it. So automate that process of helping them decide which TV they want. Set the buying criteria. And you can do it like, hey, if you need cable, this is going to be important to you. Here's the 3 that meet this criteria. Of these 3, if high definition is important to you, this is clearly the one that you're going to want, right? You're just being helpful to allow them to decide what's right for them. Not like coming off, well, hey, you need a TV. This is the only one for you, and just hard pitching that one when they know there's 50 options. When then in their mind, they're going to be going, well, what about the other 49? I bet you this is just your opinion, right? They're going to get combative. They're not going to want to take your advice because they don't trust you, right? If you come in as a trusted advisor and you're guiding them on their journey to make their purchase, that's going to build trust, rapport. They're probably going to take your recommendation. So, and this is like, if you're using Acquisition that's what you need to figure out. What is that process for you, for whatever you're selling? How do you enter the conversation? How do you guide them? How do you set the buying criteria and get them to realize that you are the best solution for them? That's how you're going to make a sale. That's how you're going to get people to interact with your emails. If they're not interacting with your emails, you don't have the subject right. You don't understand their needs. You don't understand their emotional triggers. You don't understand their fears. Like if they're buying life insurance, you could use a fear trigger in the subject. Like, if they're not buying life insurance for themselves, they're buying it for a loved one. They're buying it because they care about someone and they're trying to take care of them. If you put up a fear-based subject line that challenges that and says, if you die and you don't have the right kind of life insurance, your loved ones might get nothing. I don't know that that's true, but you see where I'm going with this. You have to enter that conversation with what's meaningful to them. That's how you'll get them to open your emails. And then you become helpful. You give them the taste instead of the tease. Help them decide. Give them everything they need to know to make that decision. And I got to tell you, it's not easy. Marketing is not easy. There's so many things. There's so much testing to do, and people are just weird. You have to literally, I mean, you've got people here that you're trying to sell to, and people are weird. Different pockets of people are weird, and it's all based on experience. Every belief they all have is all experiential. So if you look at that group, and this is why the avatar is so important, understanding who the representative is of that group and what they've been through, what they've experienced. If you're not going and digging into that level, you are not communicating on a meaningful basis. And your results are going to be mediocre, if any results at all. You have to literally have walked a mile in their shoes. They have to see themselves in you. The whole mirroring process. If they can see themselves in you, they're going to immediately like you. They're immediately going to trust you and bond with you, and they're going to probably listen to you because of that. If you haven't got that first stage, you can talk and talk and talk, and they're not listening. They're not reading your emails. They're not watching your videos because you're not speaking their language. They don't like you. So it's really, really a key thing that you get that understanding of who you're talking to and make a meaningful conversation. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, definitely great stuff. Can you where do you talk about where we have to follow the rules and like we can just email them without, I know you said,
Gotcha.
they've been bumped against big data, right? And they've opted into the internet. I know I've heard that from you before.
Yeah, so where we came up with our logic on that is from the Can Spam Act. The Can Spam Act is the regulation for email. And basically it states it states a lot of stuff, but if you break it down into like the meaning of it all, it basically states that you can email anyone for any purpose as long as you give them a way to opt out. So that says that it's okay to email people on any basis, any subject matter, as long as you give them a way to opt out. We've taken it a further step higher up the ladder. We're only buying leads that come out of a data source that are people that have actually opted in online to receive marketing materials. So we've taken any objection to the fact that you can't email people, which isn't right to begin with. Like I said, in the Can Spam Act, you can email anyone for any purpose as long as you give them a way out. So, but we didn't just take it at that. We're taking it a whole rung higher and saying we're only going to sell leads from people that have opted in to receive marketing materials. So they have agreed to receive marketing materials. So and that stuff can all be found in the members area inside Acquisition Air. I know Brady has done a lot of work putting all kinds of resources in there in the members area. So I think he's even got that quoted from the actual canned spam. And if you can actually print that out. If you're doing client work and that's an objection, you can actually print it out and give them a copy of it. So they feel at ease with it.
Okay, yeah, thanks again. Yeah, I'm still trying to decide on private plane versus corporate jet, and what business model I want to try out first. That's all.
Sure, absolutely.
John, I'd like to add a footnote to that statement also about the CAMAN Act.
Uh-huh.
That is, if anyone's got a credit card, look very deeply into those terms and conditions. I got a new card and I went through it, and sure enough, there was a whole paragraph in there saying we reserve the right to send you third-party information of our affiliates or associations. So
Yeah.
it's in your credit card. So hello.
Yeah. Almost everyone has agreed to receive marketing materials, whether you know it or not. Like if you have, like Gregory just said, if you have a credit card, which I don't know of too many people at this point that don't have a credit card that haven't, under the breath agreed to that. So there's the only place where we we get into dicey gray area is on the SMS texting. I would not recommend that you do SMS texting without a direct permission base on that. Email, start off with email, send them something of value, start a relationship, a conversation, and then move it to SMS if you want to. Say, hey, I've given you this list of 5 things that, will help you decide what's right for you in the market. If you'd like a video, I can text you the link. Just give me your text, your best text email or your best text number, and I'm happy to shoot that over to you. Now you have just gotten their permission to text them. And the other thing, there's new regulation, and it is not being honored whatsoever in the marketplace yet. But there is new regulation about auto dialers and robotic callers that they're saying that is a no-no, that is off limits. So don't take the phone numbers that you get with here and throw them into an auto dialer. That is against regulations. And this is all new stuff. This is all new regulation. And like I said, I get call after call after call of robot chats, trying to sell me on crap. And technically, that's against the law, but it's all new regulation, so it has not affected it yet. But I would just not recommend doing anything that crosses any lines like that. Start off with email. Email is safe. Create the relationship, get the permission to text them, get permission to call them if you want to call them, and just do things the right way. Do things the right way, and everything should be golden.
A question on that auto thing. Doesn't also the acquisition air software checks the phone number against the do not call list?
It does, but that doesn't mean that
I'm not so sure.
that qualifies for this class of regulation.
Okay.
Just because they're not on a do not call list, that refers to you calling them in person. That doesn't have anything to do with auto dial or robotic calls. That is a whole new class of regulation altogether. So
Another question talking about phones or the acquisition there. How about I was asked a question by one of my clients. How do our VPNs, people who have VPNs, the will the emails or be blocked? Wouldn't they be found? I told them, look,
no,
the system will find people who are actively looking for your product.
yeah.
So if it's their VPN, they're VPN.
Yeah, VPNs really don't come into play as far as acquisition air. A VPN, all it does is hide your identity of your IP address, your personal identity. It does not prevent your identity when you enter an opt-in box. Even if you are on a VPN and you're in a Chrome browser that's incognito and all of that stuff, if you go onto my website and you put your name and email address in my opt-in form, I'm getting your information. So that's, that's irrelevant, really.
John,
So-
I just heard an interesting thing on the call dialing and that sort of stuff, the robocalling.
Mhm.
There appears to be a distinction between if I have a list of real phone numbers that I've bought, I can auto dial them all day long. What you can't auto dial is the auto dialers that randomly generate phone numbers. They just generate a phone number and see if somebody answers.
Oh gosh.
Those are the ones that apparently are the target of this, not people that are just calling. There was also somebody suggested a workaround on the texting, and I'm not validating this or whatever. I haven't made the choice on that yet, but if you do send them a text message, you say, thank you for visiting or whatever, would you be willing to communicate via text, opt out, yes or no? And if they don't answer or say stop, then you're out. But if they respond to you, then they've given you permission. I don't know if that's
Okay.
true or not, but that's what I've heard recently.
That sounds reasonable. That absolutely sounds completely reasonable to me. I just don't know. I haven't really dug into the real laws and regulations on the whole SMS thing. But that's why, just for safety's sake, I just tell everybody, do the email. You've got phone numbers and addresses there. If you choose that's what you want to do, make sure that you look into the legalities of anything you're doing with it. So, but I know, the email is not a problem right out of the gate. So that's where I direct everybody. Better safe than sorry. You don't want any of these regulatory entities coming after you. That's not something you want to get on a radar. So, all right. Well, anything else before we wrap up here today? All
Thank you,
right.
Garrett. Glad
Just-
you're home, and thank you.
Yep. Just remember, 2 more weeks. We're on the Monday schedule, and then we'll be back to Thursdays, and we'll continue on with our summer. So anyway, have a great day, everybody, and we will talk to you next Monday.
All ashore.